the nugget of our family is our daughter. You want to stand up again, Mariana? Can you come up here? Okay. This is my daughter, Mariana. Okay. I travel a lot for work. I was out of town this week, and my wife this morning gave me this that my daughter drew. Okay. And in it, can you read what it says right there in the middle? It's a flower that she drew. She loves to draw. She's a budding artist. And she drew a flower. In the middle, she wrote something that's really important, a great nugget of information, a great lesson.
You will never learn if you don't make mistakes.
Can you hear?
No.
Can you all hear that?
No, just say it.
Loud.
You will never learn if you don't make mistakes.
You will never learn if you don't make mistakes. Okay, so I'm going to talk about 3, and this is coming from a 9-year-old, but it's good because I got that. That's like a 4th nugget that I didn't mention that I think is important to put into this to talk about this because this underlies the 3 things I'm going to talk about. It's really important to remember this first. Okay, there's a meme I read somewhere that talked about I used to be a perfect parent. Then I had children. The end. And that pretty much sums it up. The most perfect parents in this room are probably the teenagers and the kids because they think, they know what parenting is. But once you have kids, you'll realize that you can't be perfect. And the important thing about that is just that. You cannot be perfect. So I'm going to talk about 3 nuggets, but the goal in life is not to be like that, like to be this, to reach that nugget. It's to always strive to reach that nugget. And that's really important because when it comes to parenting, when it comes to being a teenager, it's not about being perfect.
Stop.
If you try, I like to say that if you are perfect, you're imperfect. Because once you start thinking you're perfect, you're going to lose the ability to learn and to grow. Life is on a continuum, so you have to take each of these nuggets that I'm going to present and look at getting as close to perfection at that nugget as you possibly can with the understanding that you can. Okay, now going to the 3 nuggets that I learned from my dad. Okay, my parents are Haitian immigrants. They come from Haiti, and I grew up in New York. And my parents were, first off, when I think about my dad, I think the first nugget I learned from him is responsibility. Okay, I don't know if there used to be a show called In Living Color. Does anyone remember Living Color? Yeah, they used to be the family of the West Indian, the hardest working West Indian family. And in a lot of ways, I felt like my parents, they worked 3 jobs. And so they hardly ever saw each other, He'd leave the house at 6 in the morning, he'd get home at midnight. My mom, we wouldn't do this nowadays. They used to leave us home alone for a little period of time because then my mom would have to go to work at 10 and come back at 7 in the morning. And they just would pass each other, like coming in and out of the house. So they hardly ever saw each other. It was like this for years. But he had such a sense of responsibility, of responsibility for taking care of his family, taking care of his kids, taking care of his loved ones. And he sacrificed so much to do that. And I think that just when I look over my life and what I've learned about responsibility, I realize it's really important. Because when I look at people that I look up to, my hero was my dad, and I have people I look up to. People I look up to are responsible people. They take care of what needs to get taken care of. So the teenagers, what are some of the things that you think that teenagers need to take care of? I'm putting you on the spot. Someone. What's one thing you have to take care of? Taking care of your siblings, like my son Mario talked about. I don't know where he is now. Is he gone?
No.
But anyway, yeah, right. Taking care of your siblings. Right. What are some things that now teenagers? What are some of the things your parents need to take care of in order to take care of you? You get a chance to tell your parents they have to be responsible too, right? What are some of the things that a responsible parent would do in taking good care of you? Huh? Putting a house over. Yeah. Making sure you have house payments, right? Making sure you're on top of the house payments. Making sure you're on top of the bills, so you can have a safe environment, so you can grow the way you need to grow. It's kind of like a plant, like watering that plant. If you're not paying the bills, you're not watering that plant, right? So responsibility is important for both parents and children. But once again, remember that underlying theme. You can't be perfect at it. I'll be honest. I am not always the most responsible. I've texted a time or two. I've driven.
Forgotten a child.
I've driven over the speed limit. I've done, and my wife will surely tell you some other things that I've done wrong, and my
Forgotten
kids will too.
children at the house.
But the thing is,
Going
in
to
mind,
Dallas.
I always keep in mind that I want to strive to be as responsible a person as I can be. I don't say I am responsible, and as a teenager, as a child, as my kids, I don't expect them to be responsible. I expect them to strive to be responsible. And if you do that, as both a parent and a teenager, that will go a long way. Okay? The second thing I learned from my dad is, and I've been telling my son this for a while, he can probably tell you, it's 2 words.
Frustration tolerance.
What is it, Mark? Frustration tolerance. When I look at people that are successful in life, or people I look up to, again, they have the ability to tolerate frustration. What that means is kind of a technical term, but essentially what it means is people that are able to persevere. And you know, what my daughter wrote, this goes to that as well. You won't learn unless you make mistakes. The lessons my parents learned, the lessons that I learned have come not from my successes, but from my mistakes. So it's okay to make mistakes. As a teenager and as a parent of a teenager, it is okay to make mistakes so long as you're trying to be the best darn parent that you can be. And that's really important for both. So this is a lesson in that for both the parent and the teenager. So frustration tolerance and learning that when you make the mistakes, all it is just an attempt, it's an opportunity to keep trying and to tweak it to get it as good as you can get it. Because trust me, you know, when you run into people that never make mistakes, they're kind of strange, you know. You know, you're not going to learn much from most folks because they think everyone should be like them, but nobody's like that because people are imperfect, and that's the beauty of teenagers. That's the beauty of children. And you know, they could drive us up the wall, but there's still that imperfection is beautiful, and I love them for that. Okay. The last one, and this is where my dad became my hero. And how am I doing on time? I got like
You got like 7 seconds.
7 seconds. Okay. Well, okay. The last one basically comes. This is where I never really had a hero. I like sports, athletes, things like that. But my mom, bless her soul, died in 2013 of Alzheimer's. Okay. And my dad, like I said, my mom was a handful. I'm telling you, I really did not have a great relationship with my mom. She was very, very tough. Very, very tough. And I didn't have a great relationship with her until she developed Alzheimer's because she softened with the disease. And I'm glad for that because I learned to love her as a you know, instead of this strict kind of real tough mom who just never give me a hard time. Okay. But what I learned from that is my dad, and they never saw each other. And I used to think they just used to stay together for the kids because I couldn't imagine being married to her, you know. And then but when she developed Alzheimer's and they had retired now, and he was always away from her, I just never thought they liked each other. But when it came down to it, I saw how loving and kind he really stepped it up. And he took care of my mom when she would get delusional and attack him, accuse him of cheating on her or something like that. She because of the disease. She even, my wife observed this. She decked him like at our house. She
knocked
came
him
to my
out.
house. She knocked him out, punched him on the ground, and he got up and said, "It's okay, Dad. It's okay." And held her and took her to the room. And I was amazed because I thought he would just leave her in a second. But you know, and to me, he automatically went like, boom, hero. That is the person I want to be because of dedication to a cause, dedication to a person, dedication to his family and his wife of over 50 years. And that is something that as parents, as children, you want to find something that you can dedicate yourself to. And it's always great to dedicate yourself to family, and you won't go wrong. Okay, so those 3 nuggets: finding what your responsibilities are and being responsible, dedication to a cause, and tolerating frustration, but not seeking perfection, will take you where you want to be, both as a teenager and as a parent. Drop your mic.